Oh, hello, my dears. Okay, so we are just starting our live ceremony here. So give me, 10 seconds, 15 seconds to just make sure everything is looking good as we begin. And once we do that, then we can get right into it here. There we go. There we go. Okay, perfect. So great. So exciting. So already we have Vita coming in the comment section saying, pouring some fresh tea, awaiting our ceremony. Awesome. I just got some tea for myself here. Okay, so everything looks like it's working. Good. Okay, you never know with these live hangouts. What's going on or who can see, but it looks like we got it all going on. Okay, girls, let's get ready or we already got ready for our ceremony, so let's start our ceremony. And welcome, because if you're here, you are here because you had a desire to start to heal some of the wounding around sisterhood that I think we've all experienced. I would be very surprised if there would be a woman among us who has not experienced some of the sting of the shadow feminine. It's got a very, very profound sting when it reveals itself. But the purpose and the intention behind this ceremony is how we can actually start to transmute that sting and honor it, and just honor that it does exist instead of just brushing it off to the side. Honor that there is that sting of the shadow feminine and how we can work with it through our favorite, love, in order to heal and to transmute that energy and bring us back into this place where we feel like we can actually trust our sisters again, and we feel like we can kind of let go into a deeper connection with each other. So I feel like there is a bit of a lag. Oh no, it looks like it's okay. There might be a lag in my voice, and there might not be. Hopefully not. My computer's being a bit old. It's just being like, hey Beth, I'm old. Get me a new, just like make me new. But I'm like, I can't. You're old. Okay, so I'm gonna start off this ceremony by making jokes and also by lighting Palo Santo, and just to kind of bring in some delightful energy and to clear the space and just kind of get us ready to have a good discussion. And we're going to get into a meditation as well. So with this Palo Santo smoke, it's just a little trickle here because it's kind of hard to light. It's such a nub. I just want you to focus on receiving this smoke energetically. I'm just going to light it again one more time. And Palo Santo, for those of you unfamiliar, is this is a wood from a tree originating from South America. And it's really powerful at clearing energy, and it totally can work etherically. So just kind of, as I'm blowing the smoke your way and my way, just kind of close your eyes and take a whiff of that smoke, etheric smoke, and allow the spirit of Palo Santo to cleanse you and help you to just show up more in this moment for this discussion. All right, beautiful. So why are we sitting here today? What was the kind of intention or the motivation for me calling this ceremony? I'm not launching anything. There's not something special that I'm inviting you to at the end of this. It's literally just a ceremony of healing and of healing the wounds of sisterhood. And for me, I was feeling like, okay, so super honest backstory. I've been hosting and holding this space for Sisterhood of the Mermaid Moon, which is our etheric temple space in our tribe that manifests itself in terms of a Facebook group. That's one way that we can all kind of come together. Right now, there's about over 1,000. There is over 1,000 women in that space, and as we've grown and I've been asked, to hold more and more space for new women arriving and for conversations. There's been so much like goodness and joy within it, but I've also noticed that it's time to just be really clear about the energy that's happening in this sacred container and what we stand for, and really to pillar into our sisterhood and really honor that kindness and open-heartedness is really going to be important in our space. And that's really something that we're choosing to pillar into. Holding the space for so many women, I just feel I got this sense in the last couple of weeks. It's really important to create opportunities for us to gather and for us to ground together, so we can really activate that energy of sisterhood, of tribe, and of connection. Because while we do that in this sacred space, the Sisterhood of the Mermaid Moon, and between you and I, right now, when we ground into that, when we invite that, and when we invite sisterhood, real sisterhood, not like, the point of this discussion is real sisterhood, not, you know, well-branded, you know, beautiful, like all white woman, like no offense to white women myself, but all white women being like really skinny and having blonde hair with like flower crowns in their hair and be like, yeah, sisters. And then having that image of sisterhood, you know, kind of come forward. But this discussion and in our temple space, it's about real sisterhood, which also includes being open and willing to go to some of the deeper, sort of darker spaces that we have amongst us, and really just get real that those places are there and are here, and that it's really you know, a part of our path with the Sisterhood of the Mermaid Moon. We really honor that Kali energy. We really honor, you know, as a tribe, the energy of confronting, you know, our quote unquote demons in order to transmute and to heal them. So, you know, the intention again of this ceremony, really pillaring in, we really, really honor sisterhood, but we honor it in a way that we're willing for our wounds to come up and out. And we're also going to have this discussion about how do we handle that. And not only in the Sisterhood of the Mermaid Moon, for sure, it's about how it ripples out in your own life. So as we go out in our own lives, we're going to be, you know, maybe wanting to have this flame of true sisterhood in our hearts. And in order for us to really, you know, pillar into that, we're also going to have to be aware of how we're going to handle situations with other women where they are being quite judgmental, or you do feel like there's that cattiness there because maybe they're on their own path and they haven't kind of gone through these explorations yet. How can you hold the flame of sisterhood even then? And, you know, and stay in that place. So we're going to talk about that. I've got a couple comments I want to read. Vita says, smoothing the rocks in the rock tumbler sisterhood, letting our rough parts meet and smooth each other out. So beautiful. Rita says, do you have a biological sister? Oh my God, you are asking a great question. I do have a biological sister. And I love her so much, but we are, yeah, so great for the universe is like, talk about this right away, because this is some of the shadows. My sister and I don't talk too often because we're on pretty different wavelengths. I'll just say it like that, but I do have a lot of love for her. We have a lot of love for each other. We just don't necessarily, you know, see so eye to eye that we can talk all the time. Otherwise, we're just like saying totally opposite things. Okay, so we wanted to bring in Aphrodite and the dolphin into the ceremony. And, you know, going back to that, that's a great opportunity for myself to heal some of my own wounds in my life for sure. And if any of you also have biological sisters, that's a great starting point too, to go play and explore. So we're going to call in Aphrodite and the dolphin into this ceremony to welcome us and to guide us and to ground us into the healing that wants to come about. This is really big. This healing, what we're doing in this, you know, yeah, it's a video, you know, ceremony, but it's actually really big energy. I had someone the other day comment on one of my Facebook posts that, you know, I was inviting people to the ceremony, and she was saying, you know, you can't do healing over a video, you know, you can't do that. It's not possible. That's what I thought she was saying anyway. And, you know, with love to her, I totally feel differently that there's so much, I've experienced like profound healings from being in video ceremonies with my mentors. And also we can really feel each other etherically. And we're also in the comfort of our own homes, a lot of us. So we can really have time and space to digest this information and this energy in our own space, write things down, close our eyes, you know, just feel like we could really drop it and be at ease. And it's really big work because the divine feminine is rising on this planet, and it's so necessary, right? This yin energy, the idea of it's okay to go a little bit slower and to actually just ground into that place of all is well. You don't need to do anything in order to be worthy. This place of the divine feminine that celebrates beauty, that celebrates raw sexuality, and that celebrates each other. And so how are we going to allow the divine feminine to rise within us on this planet right now, which is very necessary for the healing of Mother Earth and all its people, if we don't also have a discussion and healing around how the divine feminine relates to each other and how us as embodiments of the divine feminine relate to each other each and every day. And so the structure of this ceremony and this session that we're going to do today is we're just kind of starting introducing why we're talking about sisterhood and what was the motivation behind it. I'm going to share, after we kind of go through some of the initial messages, a little bit about my journey with sisterhood. I'm going to share, you know, some personal stories about my path. Then we're going to get into a meditation with Aphrodite and the dolphin. the spirit of the dolphin. And we're going to do a meditation to guide us to a deeper healing that, you know, I find meditation is just so beautiful at giving us. And also Aphrodite has been quite present in our temple over the last month. I haven't been talking too much about her, but I'm constantly inviting her into our lives, the temple, with you know, respect to your higher self's wisdom in my life each and every day, pretty much, that we've been working with her since the start of this last full moon here that we had. And Aphrodite has a lot to say. So I wanted to start out with some of her messages. So we're going to meditate and then we're going to end. So coming back to what we're doing now, Aphrodite's messages around sisterhood I found to be quite interesting. So when I was connecting with Aphrodite in preparation for this ceremony, she was constantly pointing me back to self-love. She was saying sisterhood starts with self-love. And also to be really clear that we don't need to open ourselves completely up and get so vulnerable with every single woman that comes across our path in order to be good sisters, you know, in order to honor sisterhood. The truth is that when we're starting this healing process with sisterhood is that it can be messy, and it probably will be messy. Same thing with sexuality. Once we start the journey of healing with our sexuality, it's not just necessarily going to be like rainbows and daisies and magical tantric experiences with the perfect partner and we're never hurt and et cetera, et cetera. It's, you know, at least my path with healing my sexuality, a little bit messy. Same with sisterhood. You know, as we start to heal, let us kind of wash away maybe any ideas for ourselves that we might have about what it means to be like that perfect sister, what it means to, yeah, just be like that model. You know, that's kind of like the good girl syndrome. So what I mean by this is if you're out and about over the next few days and then, or over the next few weeks, and you look at someone and you look at a woman and then you judge her, and then you catch yourself, rather than being like, oh, that's so bad. I'm all about the sisterhood right now, and like, that's shitty, you know, I shouldn't do that, and then keep going. Rather than calling that voice out as shitty, just be so, you know, try to change your perspective and be so aware and proud of yourself for being aware. Wow, I caught that judgmental voice. That means that I'm healing with sisterhood because I actually just caught that voice. Whereas maybe a month ago or a year ago, I would have just let myself continue to judge her. Good job, me, for recognizing that. So I want to be really clear about this. This ceremony and this idea of coming to a truer place of sisterhood isn't about this impossible level of perfection that we need to attain. It's about being really aware of how we judge ourselves and others, and how we can bring in love and presence in order to transmute that energy little bit at a time. And so we can eventually end up in this place that is that we're consistently choosing to love and support one another. So if you do have any, if you're watching live, if you do have any comments, you can leave them on the right hand side of the screen on the video. Yeah, right of the video on the screen. And you can just type in questions or anything. And if you are watching on replay, you can come to our private Facebook group, Sisterhood of the Mermaid Moon, to share and to have any questions. So coming back to Aphrodite's messages for us, I really felt from her that it's about self-love. So sisterhood starts with self-love. We can't really love one another super well or with depth if we aren't centered, at least somewhat, in our space of love for ourselves, which is love for the universe. So I just want to invite you to kind of connect in with yourself right now and just get real with yourself. Where am I in my connection to my self-love? How often do I ask other people to validate me rather than just knowing that I'm a whole beautiful person? Where am I at with honoring and loving my wounds? Do I let my wounds and the presence of my wounds make me love myself less? Like, do my wounds kind of take me out of my center? And we're all going to be at different spots with this. And you're probably going to be at a different spot with this each and every day. For me, when I ask that question, I feel pretty good with my level of self-love. And at the same time, I also feel wounds or things that I'm subconsciously ashamed of that block me from maybe inviting that self-love in deeper. So you can open your eyes if they're still closed. And you want to be aware of that any places within yourself that you haven't given your love to and allowed yourself to surrender to that self-love, then you're not necessarily going to be able to invite in and actually receive the love of a fellow sister to those places. So in order to have a deeper connection with our sisters, we really have to have a deeper connection with ourselves, right? Because again, if a sister tries to love you in that place, it might go through if she's in kind of she's a healer, which she probably is, and can consciously love those parts of you back into wholeness through a healing process. That's really cool. But more often than not, you're not actually going to be able to receive the love of your fellow sisters until you've allowed yourself to receive love from yourself and from source energy in that direct transaction. So this is really important because some of you might be feeling kind of unsupported. Some of you might be feeling like the women in your life don't support you, don't encourage you, don't show up for you. And maybe we all feel like that in certain ways. I know sometimes I can feel like that still, or I can feel like that about certain people. And really that question is, or that idea is an invitation for us to go more deeply into, am I letting myself love myself? Because whatever I've got going on inside is going to show up in my external world. So if I'm not really loving myself and encouraging myself and supporting myself, then that's going to be showing up in my life as well, through the sisters and through the brothers and through my relationships. They're not necessarily going to support me and encourage me. So this, as all of my discussions are, is rather centered around self-responsibility. Because it's really tempting to want to go and look outside of ourselves and go, wow, she's being shitty. Wow, she's being a bitch. Yeah, she kind of sucks that way. Oh, and, not so nice voices, but to do that and go, I just need to wait for people to come that are on my level. I just maybe need to wait it out. And I don't know, like, where are these people, et cetera, et cetera. I don't know. Does that sound familiar to any of you? Kind of sitting around going, I'm hearing some etheric yeses. I don't really feel super supported by my sisters or by women in my life. I guess I'll just have to wait until they show up. And, they kind of suck. They just don't get it, but I get it. So I'm just going to keep moving forward. That's like an okay voice, but we want to invite more self-awareness in. And when a deeper level of self-awareness comes in, it goes, what am I seeing in my external life? So I'm not really feeling super supported or encouraged by the people around me. That probably means that I have a deeper level of support and encouragement that I can give myself. And just to be really real about that. And then to be able to go and say, thank you, my sisters. Thank you each individually. Yeah, you're not really the best, friend to me right now. And I don't really feel super encouraged, but you know what? Thank you, because you're showing me where I haven't been loving myself. And that's actually a really beautiful thing that you've just shown me, because now I can go work on that and create something different. So even with that one step, and you can write that down if that resonates. Going to check the comment here. Dury says present for the collective. Yay. Vita says a yes. Beautiful. Yes for the collective. So again, you can write that down if that's something that resonates with you. Okay, if I'm not feeling super encouraged, where can I encourage myself? And you want to go deep. We can always go deeper, right? Because we're humans on planet Earth 2017. We can always go deeper with how much we're showing up for ourselves. So this is super important. The other message that Aphrodite kind of sent through me, which is very much tied and linked to what we just talked about, is also our level of ability to connect with our sisters and our woman tribe, and even our brothers, is our ability to receive. It's tied into our ability to receive and our ability to be intimate and vulnerable. Because really juicy, good, powerful relationships that are the types of relationships that humans and souls crave are usually quite intimate. And they're the types of relationships where you feel comfortable and safe, or at least kind of comfortable but safe, getting vulnerable with another human being and feel like you can be really held in that space. But what if, as you're searching for this kind of relationship, you're not actually very good, you don't feel very safe yet at just actually receiving love on the day-to-day? Like when someone compliments you, you kind of shut down and go, oh yeah, thanks, but anybody could do it. Or when someone just like kind of gives you a little more eye contact than you're used to, maybe you're turning the other way really quick because it makes you uncomfortable. So do you have any of that going on? I mean, probably we all do. I'm sure I'm going to raise my hand with that. Raise your hands in this classroom of life when we can maybe see each other etherically. Probably a lot of hands went up. So how comfortable are you receiving intimate energy? Okay, so here's again where self-responsibility is actually a huge key for us to heal this sisterhood, because rather than looking outside and going, oh, I feel some blind spots here, I wish that this would change externally. I mean, that's a waste of our energy. It just goes out and it doesn't really come back. It's like, oh, great. I say to myself, you know, pointing the finger is just the best way in blame to just give your power away. It's like, here's my finger, and like with that blamed finger pointing, it's your fault. You guys suck. You guys need to improve. Oh, here's my power going, woo. So we're gonna go woo, and we're gonna take some self-responsibility. And not to say that that doesn't mean that there aren't sad things in the world or people doing things that they, you know, maybe shouldn't. But it just means that we realize as activated beings where our power truly lies, which is right within us. I'm just gonna look at some comments that are coming in here. Vita says, I have been really struggling to figure out the difference between getting vulnerable and open versus sharing my wounds and just letting it out. Wondering if just sharing unprocessed material is different than being vulnerable, but sharing transmuted energy with others. That is a great question. So let's all feel into that, because we're still on this wavelength of allowing ourselves to be intimate and receive intimacy. Okay, what I'm hearing back is when we're in the space of true vulnerability and intimacy, even though there might be discomfort and walls around it of like, oh, that's kind of scary, ultimately when we connect in, so this takes our self-awareness, I connect in, it's going to feel good and like it's opening us. Like when I'm vulnerable with, like if I'm in a women's circle, so I host women's circles in my house every new moon, and they're free for the community. Any woman or anyone who identifies as a woman can come in, and we get quite vulnerable with each other. And that feels good to me when I like totally tune in. I hear truth and I feel truth. So this, I'm just going to share from my perspective what Vita was asking, and then I kind of like, I understand it. Like, what's the difference between when you're just like, blah, blah, here's all my like unprocessed shit and I'm just dumping it and it's just adding more chaos to the world. I honestly think the answer is really simple. Like, you'll feel it. You'll feel it. You'll feel it when you tune into yourself. Oh, this feels like I actually need to spend some more time with myself in this place. But I think even you can actually just transmute, like, you can be like, okay, I need to spend some more time with myself in this place, but what's true right now? What's real for me right now? And then your communication might be, hey, what I'm feeling for myself is I actually need to spend more time with myself and in that place, just kind of hanging out with my own energy there. You see how, okay, I just told the truth and I was just intimate with you because I told you a deep truth of mine, but that didn't mean that I needed to come out with all of my unprocessed stuff that I don't even know how I want to, handle it and then give it to someone. I just, checked in. What is real to me in this moment? Well, what's real is that feels like it's not the right time. So I'm going to say, it feels like it's not the right time. You kind of feel that. And that's something I like to do with myself, of just checking in, having conversations with people, out in the world. What feels true? What feels real for me right now? And again, we don't have to divulge our innermost secrets. We could just say, it doesn't feel appropriate for me to divulge my innermost secrets. And that would be a really true, intimate way of connecting, I feel. So again, back to that intimacy, a practical step that you can do is every morning, or maybe when you're about to go to maybe a social event that you're kind of scared to go to, or you're about to meet a new woman, or you're going to get into a gathering of whatever, right? You can do this whenever. It's going to be good for whatever. You can just kind of close your eyes. You don't have to close your eyes, but you can, and just breathe in. I soften my heart to receive love. So that's another step that we can take. I soften my heart to receive love. And you can breathe that in, and with every inhale, I soften my heart to receive love, and see pink light flowing into your heart. I soften my heart to receive love. And do that for 3 or 5 minutes at a time. I soften my heart to receive love. And that's going to help you to just slowly dissolve some of those barriers that are blocking you from saying, I can't open up to her, I can't trust her. It doesn't mean, again, it doesn't actually mean that you need to tell anybody anything intimate. It's actually that you're just going to receive. You're just going to receive if someone gives you a beautiful look, beautiful, you know, moment of eye contact, that maybe you're going to be able to actually just let that in and receive it and integrate it. And that's going to be a real way that we're going to embody sisterhood, because a lot of us are just like not really letting a whole lot of love in. We love to give it, we just want to give it, but we're not actually letting ourselves receive it. But when we start, and this is like a really big thing that's happening, it's fun right now. When we soften ourselves to receive it, and like, I soften my heart to receive love, I'm going to let this intimacy in. You can practice this when someone gives you a compliment and actually just feel your heart expanding, feel the gratitude in your heart for the words they're saying. I do this lately in my life. It can be a challenging experience because it is an intimate experience about receiving that deeply. But when someone else sees you or is around you or even near you and just feeling the energy of you when you're actually letting yourself receive, you're now vibrating. You have this energy imprint of receptive energy, and receptive is very feminine energy in your field. And you're actually just allowing other people to ping, 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 and open up to that energetically. Like Jerry said in the comment before, we're doing this for the collective as well. So as we heal and as we allow ourselves to receive intimacy, we're also helping everyone else to receive too. So let's go check out the comments. Jerry says, oh goodness, I was just asking myself the same question this morning. So much love and synchronicity. Yeah, great question. Okay, I'm gonna have a little tea break before I start talking about my own experience with the sisters. Ooh. I'm just playing with the coconut milk on top of it. Dandelion, for those of you who are wondering what I'm drinking, this is organic dandelion root tea with coconut milk, stevia, and cinnamon. It's really delicious. Okay, so good. I just got all those things today. Okay, so we talked a little bit about sisterhood and some things, and maybe surprising, maybe not surprising. What we focused on was actually allowing ourselves to receive love, loving ourselves, coming into this place. Actually, before I talk about my own journey with sisterhood, I want to delve into it. I hear Aphrodite coming through a little bit, and there's a little bit more that she wants to say. So basically, now we're a little more centered, if we can receive love, and also we're receiving love from the divine. I soften my heart to receive love means that we're allowing the divine to come through us, or we're allowing ourselves to receive and to feel worthy enough to receive. That's a huge thing. Do you feel worthy enough to receive that love? Because if you don't feel worthy enough to receive love from the divine, and when you're in that place, you're not going to feel worthy enough to receive love from your sisters, and therefore you will feel cut off, because that exchange of giving and receiving that happens in really juicy relationships will be a bit cut off, right? And you can't be in a really truly juicy relationship if it's always just you giving, or it's always just you trying. You got to be able to receive that. And when you're able to receive love and able to feel worthy enough to receive love, you'll also start to magnetize experiences and relationships that have a lot of love overflowing to you and for you. So if we've centered ourselves more in our self-love practice, a great opportunity or a great practice you can also do, I mentioned this in a video I recently did, is go look in the mirror and just say, I love you, for like at least 3 minutes. I love you, Beth. So I'm going to say this to myself, I love you, Beth. I love you, Beth. I love you, Beth. I love you. And whatever your name is, I love you. I love you. Get in the mirror. Have your self-love practice. Start to allow yourself to receive a deeper level of intimacy. I soften my heart to receive love. I soften my heart to receive love. I soften my heart to receive love. Now we're going to be more centered in love, okay? So we're going to be more, it's going to be easier for us, because we've taken the time, the inner time to center in love, to be in a space of love with our sisters, to shine. And if there is some shadow energy that comes forth, if we see competition, or if we see jealousy, if that's coming to us even, if we're more centered in love, because it will, Aphrodite was telling me, it will. This is Planet Earth 2017. There's going to be shadows everywhere. And when we're centered in our space of love, now we can transmute it. But if we're not centered in our space of love, we're not doing any transmuting, okay? And you are kidding yourself if you think that you can transmute energy from a space of anger or ego, okay? There's a place for anger. I'm not necessarily knocking it, but it's not going to be that force that's going to be the transmutational force. And what transmuting means is you're taking something from a denser, maybe I don't even know if that word would be accurate, but like a kind of chaotic energy. Oh, not so great. And how I see it is like you kind of eat it, you intake it into the essence of love so it can be who it truly is, and you transmute it into this gold, you know, coming from, yeah, chaotic, crazy energy of patriarchy. We're going to eat that up like a snake, transmute it through unconditional love, and allow it to come back home so it can really vibrate with who it truly is, and that energy can be used in a really productive, healthy way. So that's what we're doing. As we're sitting down for this discussion, we're learning how we can transmute energy on this planet, so sisterhood can have a more truer essence and resonance on this planet. So again, we got to be in our space of love if we want to transmute, because we won't be able to transmute that energy if we're going to just want to hit it. I hate you, competition. I hate you, jealousy. You suck. Well, okay, great. I'm glad that, you know, you don't like that, but, you know, to transmute it, we got to be a little more like, okay, I remember that all is well, and I'm loved all the time, and their true essence loves me too, and I love them at the end of the day, so I'm just gonna, you know, come back to my forgiving place. And so that's what we're talking about, right? So there's gonna be energies that are gonna come, you know, at us and whatever, and to come back to that space of love, because we've already centered, hopefully, in our space of inner love, self-connection, allowing ourselves to receive intimacy, then we can say, I love that. I love that part of her that did that. I love that part of her that's in competition, because that part of her, now I can see that's the part of her that really needs love. That actually part of that competition or jealous energy that she's giving me is the part of her that is desiring so much to be loved and to be held. And I'm just going to say a prayer to that energy to love it. I'm just going to say, I love you today. So that's something that you can do in your life when you see maybe they're friends of yours that are bringing you a little bit of competitive energy. Maybe there's people online that you're just like, whoa, you got this Facebook ad and you're like, whoa, this is like totally like not with it. When we're more centered in our space of self-love now, and our connection with the divine, which is like the same thing, self-love, connection with the divine, which is unconditional love, all the same really, we can go, I see where, and I'm feeling this really deep connection, like I see where you're coming from. I see where you're hurting. And I'm wanting to, in this moment, put my big girl panties on and love you, and to show up to love you. And I'm going to pray that some, you know, beautiful light energy fills that space of you so it can be transmuted and healed. And that's how we're going to be healing our sisterhood. Not necessarily by, you know, saying, oh, I don't love that. I'm going to, you know, call it out and be, you know, angry about it and leave a comment about, hey, I think that you're really in this competitive place and you really need to stop that because blah, blah, blah. And rather than pushing against that energy, our love self and our love space is really wise and says, come here. I can recognize that that's a part of you that really needs to be loved. And if we're centered in our space of love, then we're going to be able to give some of that energy etherically. And if we're not prepared to do that, just ask that source energy. And it's the same. Our love energy inside of us is the same as source energy. So give it to source. And source is saying, just give it to me. Just tell them to give it to me. Just give it all to source energy. So when we kind of meet, so we have our, you know, deepening into self-love. Am I encouraging myself? Am I supporting myself? Then we have our, how intimate am I allowing myself to be with myself and with people in my life? And am I allowing myself to receive love and compliments and kindness, or am I constantly pushing it away because it just gets me kind of too deep? So bringing into the intimacy. Then we're centered in our self-love. So when we're dealing with our sisters, not only because our vibration is more of love, are we going to attract relationships that are able to meet us there. But when inevitably there are some shadow energies that come up, we're going to be able to be really powerful at transmuting those energies and in that way. So again, I want to bring this back to, you know, we're all going to fall out of this place. We're all going to get on social media and start judging someone, you know, and what the shadow of sisterhood can say is better than or worse than. The shadow of sisterhood is based on I'm not enough. To me, I feel the shadow of sisterhood based on I'm not enough. So then if I'm not enough, then I got to figure out how I'm going to get to be enough. And then it might put me in competition and comparison. Okay. So then that voice of enough and that deeper wound of I'm not enough or I'm not lovable, that deeper wound inevitably comes up and it goes, well, she's better than me or she's worse than me. So you show up online and maybe you're, you know, a healer and a new coach or whatever, and, you know, or you want to be, or you want to be a yoga teacher, just doing whatever your soul wants to be doing, and then you see someone else doing it and they're like, their branding is so perfect, their photography is amazing, they appear to be really confident on video, they seem to have a lot of clients, maybe they're traveling the world, and you go, oh my God, she's so much better than me. Oh God, is that? Or, you know, maybe even that same person, I don't know, is doing that, and you're like, wow, she's so out of integrity, she's sold out, she only cares about money, I'm so much better than her because I'm real. Okay, I do both of these things quite often. So I think what is really important, like hopefully like, well, a lot less often than I used to, but still, I'm gonna raise my hand, because how the heck are we gonna have a real conversation if we just pretend that we're like, oh, I don't do that. I don't judge my sisters. What are you talking about? I'm a faith holder for Sisterhood of the Mermaid Moon. Like, I would never judge a fellow sister. Yes, I would, and I do. And it's so important for us to just be honest about that. And then, you know, do I catch myself and do I bring it back to this place of love? Yes, as much as I possibly can. But I think it's really healthy for us to just go there with each other. And that's the Kali energy. I was just laughing. I was like, duh, like, of course. The Kali energy coming through. And it says, you know, in order to heal, we got to be real. And also giving you permission to not judge or beat yourself up when you might fall out of that space of love. And to just maybe even laugh at yourself and go, oh, you're so silly. We got lots of time to heal. It's okay. Vita says, I love that you say I don't do both of these things way too often. Yes, because transparency is my fave. Okay, so let's talk about me then. Let's talk about me. No, let's talk about my experience, because I only have my experience to share from, right? So for me, I always like loved people, really. Like, I always liked to have friendships, and I always liked to kind of like know what was up and things, you know, and want to hang out and things like that, you know. I remember I had a couple experiences that were just like kind of traumatic, and so I want to invite you to reflect on your experiences with sisterhood just for a little bit, like kind of looking into maybe the shadows of the wounds, and then we're going to turn around and we're going to bring a lot of like love energy in order to heal those. So we're not going to spend too long on this, but I remember like even like in elementary, I kicked another girl out of our group. I was like, I was the one who like had a strong voice. Like, I was okay with being like, I'm gonna say this. A trait that has followed me into my later years. And so my group of friends were like, well, you're gonna be the one to do it. And we just decided we didn't like her or something. I don't even know what was going on, but like little Beth had been influenced by the shadow voices of this planet already. I was literally only like 10 years old. You know, love myself, but you know, whoops. So I remember I literally had like, I stood up and I like kicked this girl out of our group. You're not allowed to hang out with us anymore, blah, blah, blah. Then like a year later, I get the same thing. I get kicked out of like the group. And then I remember, yeah, junior high, same thing. You know, good group of girlfriends. And then they start, you know, having sleepovers without me and not telling me and like whispering about it. And like, oh, like that feeling was so sad, you know, for me. I don't know about you, but as a kid, just feeling really left out. And so I was on both sides of it, right? And probably a lot of us are like the ones that are like, oh, she's not cool enough to hang out with us. Or maybe you're, you know, always the one that's like, oh, I'm, you know, always getting left out. But for me, that was happening. And I definitely felt more on the left out side of things than the other side of things. So already by the time junior high had hit, I'm, you know, already looking, you know, to TV and to my mother's own relationships with her friends, which, you know, maybe she had some work to do around sisterhood as well. And I'm getting all these like different ideas. And by the time I'm 9 years old, they're already coming out in separation, in we're cooler than you, and this and that. So that just kind of shows you how embedded that shadow energy is in our culture. And then going through high school, I started to have some good girlfriends. And these girlfriends lasted, you know, with me in that really close setting up until university. And then I started to wake up. And I went to South Africa and I started meditating and I became a vegetarian and I started dating someone who was also, you know, woken up to who he truly was. And he started to call me out on some things. with these sisters that I had made in high school, we had a lot of laughs with each other by making fun of each other. We would point out something that we thought was funny or silly or, kind of like weird in another person, and we would make jokes about them and to their face and not to their face, and we would laugh about that. And that's a way that we would relate to each other. My girlfriends constantly use the term slut and bitch as terms of endearment for each other, which I never liked. I never used those words with them. But they definitely, in our group was like, yeah, slut, what's up? We're like, hey, bitch. Like, not really into that. But that was, was happening. And then when I was dating and I kind of woke up, I was dating this guy, and I started to, use some of those, things with him, make fun of him, or say like, oh yeah, like, that's gross, oh, you're gross, just silly things like this. And he was just like, dude, like, do that, like, if we're gonna date, that's not gonna fly. Like, you can't talk to me like that. That's not actually funny. There's a lot of things that are actually funny in this world. Making fun of someone is not one of them. Making someone kind of in that cruel way is not one of them. There's a lot, more ways that you can make a joke that's really funny. And that woke me up. I was in love with this man, and I knew he was right. And he definitely poked me somewhere that was vulnerable, which was, this voice of, I know that I can go deeper with friendships, and I want to be more respectful. So that kind of, that was like my clearing out. I went to a different university a few hours south of my high school girlfriends, so it was kind of naturally that we kind of drifted apart a little bit. And I had a couple, probably a year or two, where I didn't really have many close girlfriends at all, which was rare for me. And I did feel the loneliness of it, but I knew I needed to recalibrate. I knew I needed to establish myself as my soul. I remembered my soul, and I woke up and I was meditating, and I really wanted to make some time and some space for that, so that I could ground into that and then attract the kind of relationships that I did want in my life. And so you might be, I don't know where you're at, but maybe that's where you're at, where you kind of just had to remove a lot of people so you could just get to know yourself and to start a little bit more from square one. And then I started to open up a little bit more. And then maybe in the last, 5 years since then of making girlfriends, a lot of really beautiful women have come into my life. If you hang around me very often, you'll notice that I'm surrounded by women a lot, or lately I'm surrounded by men a lot, really recently, but that's another story. Surrounded by women a lot, and hosting women circles, and having these chats with you, and really have invited women into my life. Does that mean that I have perfect relationships with women right now? No, like I said, but it does mean that the discussion's open. The heart is open. And I feel like right now in my life is like, I can recognize when a really beautiful soul connection, maybe a sister, comes into my life, and she's really worthy of having that connection being watered with her. Not because like we're all worthy, but that like that's a really good connection. And I've identified, okay, there's some really beautiful relationships and solid connections that might have their issues, but they're worthy of being watered and nurtured. This is where I'm at. And I am also at that point where I can identify, there's a strong connection there, but this connection doesn't feel like it's worthy of being watered, because this person's just not willing to also water it. This person's not getting their watering can out, and I'm like taking care of both of our, our collective garden, and that doesn't sit well with me. So in this place where I feel like I'm in a much more healed place with my sisters, doesn't mean that I'm inviting every single woman into my life as my BFF. No, definitely not. Because in order for me to have a trusting, good, vulnerable relationship with my sisters, they need to be quality connections that I'm watering and feeding, they're watering and feeding. And I can't have like 100 close connections. I just can't. I can have like a handful maybe. So maybe, I don't know, where does that sit for you? Because this might really resonate with you, and it might maybe not so much. It depends. Are you at the place where maybe you're just trying to invite all these different women and people in as sisters and as support, when if you sit with yourself, you actually can see maybe only 3 of those 10 people might actually be really good fits for my life? And again, that doesn't mean that you're not a true sister, that just because that you have boundaries, that means that, oh, you're not being a true sister, and you're not being the space of love, and you just have to be unconditionally loving. You can love them, but from maybe a little bit further away. and you can, be supportive energetically, but maybe from a little bit further away. Because it's also really important that in order to heal sisterhood, that we actually have visceral experiences of what true sisterhood does feel like. So make sure that the connections that you are investing yourself into have that resonance of, yes, we can grow together and we both want to grow together. Because that's going to be a lot more successful for you, and you're also going to be able to feel that connection of what sisterhood feels like a lot more deeply. And I full on give you permission, if you need it, to let go of any of those situations or relationships that just don't really have your back. Maybe they will come back around. Do your work, go into the inner place, self-love, forgiveness, love them from afar. If they loop back, awesome, great. If they don't, cool. But give yourself permission that you're just going to make sure that the people in your life and that you're letting in are resonant to what your soul needs at this time, and they're also going to show up for you. And if you don't have any of those connections, then go sit your ass lovingly on the meditation pillow and start to feel into where your wounds are and how you can love them into wholeness, because that just means that we want to amp up that level of self-love. And we're all on this journey. Even me, I would love to have even deeper connections and be actually in this space, an in-person space with my fellow priestesses, and deepen in that way. And what a beautiful path that we're on. So I don't know if this necessarily has like an ending point. Usually it doesn't on planet Earth. We're always kind of growing. But there's my discussion for you about my vibe. So Rita's coming in and leaving some comments. So she's saying, in 3rd grade, I was told that I was 21st in line for a 20-girl guides troop. I didn't know how to respond. I wouldn't either. Now I feel that since my current city is quite old, and as people whose grandparents grew up together, I will never fit in or have any dear friends here. So again, that's the coming back to that self-love. I'll never fit in. I don't have any friends. Those are your stories coming into play. You got, to recognize that, and to, again, lovingly sit your ass down on the meditation pillow and say, I'm going to change those stories first from in here. Then other things are going to show up externally. Anything can manifest that we want. It doesn't matter where we live. Love the self-love, soft heart image. Plus, it seems easier to have girlfriends when I'm not living in the same house as my husband. Interesting. I made great friends the months I worked out of town. So maybe looking at maybe why that is. Maybe you're giving a lot of energy to your husband, and maybe some of it wants to come back to you and your femininity. Okay, great. Thank you for sharing. Okay, so let's get into a meditation. So this is what I'm most excited for, probably. I'm just going to have a sip of tea again. That we can practice, we can talk, we can learn, we can write things down, we can have things that we want to practice. But ultimately, I think a lot of the healing does happen when we're in our meditative spaces, and we're also asking different energies in the universe and source energy to come through us and to help us heal. So I'm going to get you, beautiful ladies, to close your eyes with me. I'm like looking at the time. I'm like, we've been going that long. I was like, when I talk, I just can keep talking. It's just like one of my talents. Okay, so close your eyes and start to breathe in through your nose and out through your mouth, or in a better way that works for you. And we're now calling upon your higher self, all the higher selves of those who are with us, live or on rebroadcast. We ask all the higher selves of those who are with us to join us and to ask us to come into a circle and see this circle of sisters around you now. There might end up being probably a couple hundred or a few hundred that end up joining us and are therefore here with us now. So really feel into your body now, allowing yourself to drop in, allowing yourself to ask yourself a question. Am I really open? Am I actually genuinely open to allowing my sisters in? Am I really genuinely open to letting down my guard and allowing love to pour in to heal old wounds? Starting to breathe in and just love any of those voices that are coming up. We call upon Aphrodite and the spirit of the dolphin to join us in this meditation now. Everyone who's watching, listening with us. May Aphrodite be with each of us individually, and may the spirit of the dolphin play around us with the intention that we heal any parts of ourselves where we're still holding on to anger and blame for our sisters and just angry at them. May we have the courage to let that go so it can be transmuted. Not denying that we haven't been through painful experiences, but opening up to, we want to create something new and different and more true. So we're going to be courageous enough to let the walls down, to keep walking this path of love, and to see where we get to, see where we go. I want you now to picture yourself in a beautiful garden of roses. And this garden of roses stretches out as far as the eye can see until it ends and you can see the ocean. And all sorts of colors are in this rose garden. And I want you to go find the rose bush that is most calling you. And notice what color these roses are. As you look around this garden now, you can see all of the other women who are on this call with us, this ceremony. And even they're kind of in their own little worlds, but you can see them also reaching out to each rose bush. And each woman choosing the rose bush that is most calling out to her. And it's almost like you can see them as they're in a different dimension. So you have your own space in this garden. And it's really for you, and this moment is really for you. But you can also energetically feel your sisters around you having their own experience with these roses. And again, come back to this rose bush that is calling you. And start to feel your feet on the ground connecting to this rose bush. Feel your feet like connecting, so the roots are actually underneath your feet, and you're feeling a little bit of the roots and the rooted energy of the rose bush. And as you do so, this rose bush telepathically reaches out to your mind and intertwines with your energy field, and allow it to do so. And you feel yourself being drawn into this rose bush. And as you allow yourself to soften and deepen, this rose bush actually takes your energy and you actually integrate into the rose bush. So your energy is now rippling inside of the stems, the leaves, the roses, and the roots. And you become part of this rose bush. And as you're circulating in this rose bush, notice where your awareness is sent to. Is your awareness sent to the roots, or the place of the roots right come above ground? Is it in the rose itself? Is it in a blooming rose, or is it in a tight bud that's awaiting to be, blossoming? Is it in a leaf? Or maybe it's all over and it's just playing and it's circulating. As you breathe in and allow yourself to be one with this rose bush, you hear this beautiful voice moving through your energy field as the rose bush. Hello, beloved. Welcome to the Garden of Roses and to the true essence of the rose. Aphrodite is here with you, as is Mother Mary and Mary Magdalene. We're asking you to lay your weapons down. Any weapons that you have that you've used to protect yourselves or to fight against your sisters or with your sisters. We're asking you to now internally lay those weapons down. If you are ready to lay your weapons down, and if you would like help to come back to the essence of the rose, to the love that you truly are, and to the knowingness that nothing can hurt you, mentally say yes, and we will help you to let go. Receiving the medicine of Aphrodite, and Mother Mary, and Mary Magdalene. As you could just gently hear and feel the dolphins playing in the ocean, coming and rippling forward to you now, asking you to have a deeper connection with play and opening yourself up. And as you circulate in this rose bush, wherever you are, these voices and the voice, the essence of the rose and the rose bush comes back. Beloved, all sisters are flowers. All sisters are different flowers. And just as you cannot compare an orchid to a rose and ask which is more beautiful, you cannot compare a sister to another sister and ask which is more beautiful. Just as you cannot compare a seed of a rose bush that is beginning to sprout with, you know, a Gerber daisy plant that is in full blossom and full bloom and ask which did better. They're just at their own parts of their journey, and that Gerber daisy is going to fall off and die as that rose bush is coming to life. You cannot go to two sisters and say who's doing better, because we're all at different points in our journeys. And sometimes our flowers wither and die, and that's a part of the cosmic process. And sometimes we germinate in the earth for months before we're ready to start to move and grow. And sometimes we are in that full blossom space with our light and our beauty shining for all to see, and our fragrance to bring joy to the world. Wherever you are at, beloved, you're feeling this from the essence of the rose within your heart, and now you in this rose bush. You are so perfect, and your energy supports other sisters to love themselves, and your sisters' energies are supporting you to love yourself. And feel the essence of the rose as it lives inside of you. If you even want to picture that rose, it's on that plant right now that you're a part of and breathing into and moving through, you can. What is the essence of the rose showing you about your heart and about your sisters? And I want you to ask your higher self in this moment to show you memories and to help you download memories of a time or of times where you lived in harmony with your sisters and other souls. I want you to ask your higher self right now to download energies, messages, and memories of times where you might have lived as a priestess, or you might have lived in a village, and you were truly surrounded by sisters who loved you. Ask your higher self to download these memories into yourselves and your conscious mind now. Don't grasp for these memories, just trust that they're within you now as you circulate through this rose bush, and just feel the feelings. What does it feel like to be supported by this net of light that is known as sisterhood, as your sisters? What does it feel like to know that you can go to bed and have your hair brushed by someone that's super dear to you? You can just surrender into that beautiful energy. What does it feel like to be able to have your heart open and receive that intimacy? What does it feel like to see people for deeper than what they're showing you, and to see that all souls are whole, beautiful, and perfect? All souls are doing the best they can, and all souls are worthy of love, as are you. What does it feel like to bathe in these memories and this knowingness? And as the essence of the rose moves through you, she bathes you and blesses you. And Aphrodite comes and blesses you now. And you can see Aphrodite in whatever shape or image she's coming to you as to move forward. And she places a rose, a pearl, and a dolphin right in the center of your heart. And whatever color rose bush that you were drawn to, allow that colored light to weave the rose, the pearl, and the dolphin right into your heart as gifts from Aphrodite to help you remember your true essence, your true nature, and the true energy of sisterhood as it lives and breathes on this planet. Take a moment to just breathe into this energy. It is safe to do so. This energy is always here and always circulating around this planet and inside this planet and inside of us. This is the true energy. This river of love and acceptance is how the universe works. And there's nothing that you can do to separate yourself from this river of love and rose energy. You can pretend that you've separated, but you'll never be able to actually separate. So allow yourself to surrender and remember back. You are worthy of this river of love. You are worthy of true, real sisterhood, because true and real sisterhood is the truth of who we are, no matter what. Allowing yourself to breathe in for a few more breath cycles, breathing in the rose, maybe having a few moments with Aphrodite or Mother Mary or Magdalene or the dolphin or the rose bush, maybe asking questions, tuning in to receive deeper healing or guidance, breathing into that river of energy, of love, of support, whatever feels right to you. Asking that Aphrodite and the spirit of the dolphin move through each and every one of us to anchor us in this place of love and connection with one another and with ourselves. May we have a deeper opening to allow this energy through us and through our lives at all times. And may we be pillars for love. May we be pillars for true sisterhood. And may we forgive ourselves anytime that we forget what's actually here and real and available for us. Allowing yourself to feel the energy of the rose again. And as you feel this love, if you're feeling love in your heart, I just want you to send that with this rise of pink light from your heart, and send that to your aura, to your chakras, to all of the sisters that are in this ceremony on this call in their own rose bushes. Feeling that love and that connectedness of remembrance. And whenever you're ready, you can spread that pink light out into the world, into the globe, to all the sisters and all the brothers. Because brothers have feminine energy too, and they might have been our sisters in past lives. So send that love to all the souls, and because just brothers first. And to the sisters, and just to amplify this energy of love on this planet. And finally, send that energy of love right into the center of the earth in gratitude and thanks for connecting us all. We are all one. Whenever you're ready, you can travel the roots of your rose bush down, down, down into the center of the earth, riding those roots right into the center of the earth, allowing Mother Earth to root you right into her sacred essence. And whenever you're ready, riding back up into your body through the roots, but through the roots of your own body. Breathing Mother Earth's energy in and allowing the rose to be in your field. And whenever you're ready, you can wiggle your toes, wiggle your fingers, and gently open your eyes. Welcome back. Okay. So beautiful. We're just gonna kind of allow ourselves to be in that energy as we start to gently come down, I don't know, gently close the ceremony. Just allowing that energy to ripple through your body and allowing this to be an opening for the next leg of your journey. And oh my gosh, it didn't even realize, okay, I'm wearing a rose in my hair right now. I'm like, I don't know, when I guide meditations, I just let them come through me. But I just happen to be wearing a rose in my hair today. Perfect. Okay, so I just want you to just be there with yourself now, inviting that energy of the rose in. And a message from Aphrodite is, even though we want to be aware of the wounds that we have, we want to focus on the truth, because whatever we focus on expands. So we can be aware of wounds and we can talk about them. We can talk about the shadows. But we're talking about them because we want to bring our presence to them. And when our presence, which is unconditional love and its truth, comes and meets the shadows and the wounds, we heal. But in order for that to be happening, we actually need to be, presencing love. So focus, please, on the truth. Focus on the beauty of the rose and the connection to your fellow sisters as much as you can, because that's the true river of life, and you can actually surrender into that, and that's what's real. And as we focus on what feels good, and as we focus on heart energy and the remembrance of how this all works, we're going to be able to activate other people. It's going to be so exciting. So my invitation for you is to bring in the practice of honoring the essence of the rose. And maybe I'll make a meditation for you about, the rose and connecting with the rose and sisterhood in the next maybe few days or a week or something. And so we have a grounded way that we can invite the rose in. But maybe go buy a rose for yourself today or tomorrow and put it beside your bedside. Maybe when you light a candle, I have my candle next to me, maybe call in all the sisters and all the women in the world and ask, ask that all of our higher selves meet and come together and meet with the essence of the rose. Maybe you're going to call in Mother Mary, who is very much associated with the rose, to remind you of your sacred worth and your sacred love, and asking that you may, own that on a deeper level. But my invitation for you is to deepen into the energy of the rose and of the true energy of sisterhood, and allow that to be your focus rather than on the wounds or the jealousy or this or that, knowing that that will heal as we bring the presence of love. And if we need to confront things at certain times, no problem, but doing so from the lensing of love and unconditional acceptance, and realizing that that's not who people truly are. People truly aren't jealous or judgmental or really competitive. They're truly what we feel with the essence of the rose. That's who we truly are, love. So do everyone a favor, as well as yourself, and attempt and encourage yourself to look more deeply for who someone really is. And if you need to look at who someone really is from afar and not have them really in your life, no problem. Whatever you need to be able to be centered in that place. Okay, so Vita was saying, I can relate to deep wounds that still impact my relationships with sisters starting at 10 years old. And Rita is saying, early in the call, when I imagined softening my heart and I asked myself how to do so, I got the image of a rose petal. Ah, yes, so beautiful. Okay, so much love. Thank you for joining us live. If you did, loving that. Thank you for amplifying this energy. And for those of you on rebroadcast, thank you for being here with us. You're all presenced and appreciated no matter how you showed up. So let's continue this journey. Like I said, I'm going to record a meditation on sisterhood with the rose. Let's practice that whenever that comes out in the next week or so. And we can continue the conversation in our private Facebook group, Sisterhood of the Mermaid Moon. If you're not already a part of that group, you can go to tinyurl.com/mermaid moon, and that's going to take you to be able to join the group. If you don't remember that, you can also go to mermaid-moon.com, and there's lots of invitations all over that website to join our Facebook group in case you're not already a part of it. So let's continue this discussion in the sisterhood. May the essence of the rose bless your day, bless your life. Thank you so much for showing up and being here and being a part of this ceremony, and letting go of your judgments and just wanting to sit in true and real sisterhood and healing. That's really big, really pure, and you're a very powerful soul. So let us keep connecting, and let us keep sitting in that energy of our power and of unconditional love, so that we can activate other people into that too, and just get to share and have this love fest that we're destined to have on planet Earth as we keep growing and evolving. So much love to you. Bless your day, and I'll see you ladies very soon. We will keep connecting.